you're going to listen to what my concern is.
Right.
And if you and then you're also able to look up those legislators and senators, and you're able to see how they vote. They can give you whatever kind of talk they want to on the phone, but when it comes down to how they cast their vote,
Right.
you can look that up also.
Oh, yeah.
And when you look that up, I'm telling you, you don't ever go into a voting booth unaware of what's on that ballot. You know, you have yourself well versed on it. You know, you have to, and you have to open your mouth. And, you know, we've got plenty of people now coming forward. But, you know, when we weren't so much the information age and we had people who were trying to come forward with the truth, I'm telling you, there were people that came up missing. Never to be heard or seen from again. So we've got, you know, we're in the information age. We have the ability to get the truth out to the masses. And we really need to exercise our rights, as it is we the people. It is we the people. And you need to communicate. You need to write letters. You need to send emails. You know, a lot of people don't want to send letters, but I'll tell you what. Emails, telephone calls, and you'd be surprised, really, how many telephone calls you do get back from your constituents. I mean, from your
senators and legislators.
You're the constituent. From your legislators and senators, you really do.
Oh, sure.
You really do.
You may get a generic email back, but that's when you email them back and say, you know what? You better send me a real one, damn it.
Yeah. So, you know, I really want to talk about this methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase.
Wow. That's a long word.
This is very common. It's very common. It is scientific research. There's over 2,500 published scientific research papers on this gene's acronym. The official symbol is MTHFR. And 98% of people have at least one of these gene mutations. And it comes from our air, it comes from our water, it comes from our food. And I'm going to go through a list of very common ailments that every single one of you out there listening have heard of, know someone who is dealing with it. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do to get your body back into pH, which is, I gave you Greg's number. Call him about the water purifier. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to your family. Buy a water purifier. Buy one of these alkaline water purifiers. It's so reasonably priced, it's just ridiculous. And it compares over the top to the $4,200 model one out there that everybody's out there trying to promote. $4,200. Hey, you know what? That's the price of a good quality used car, and your average family does not have that kind of money laying around.
Right.
You know, we need to remember the 1% doesn't care. You know, we got the rest of the 99 and actually about 96% that care, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they might have a little bit of savings put away, and they have to be frugal because nothing's getting cheaper. It's said that in 3 more years, 40% of our income is going to be for food.
Wow.
You want 40% of your income going for food that is toxic? Tear them yards up next year. Look out them back windows. Make a plan. Section off, niche out a little area for the kids to play, and tear up that yard. That's where your garden's going. You know, seeds change. They're heirloom seeds. You know, you can find them online. There's no genetically modified seeds there. There was somewhere where a crop was sprayed, and they said there was 37,000 dead bees. Well, you can't individually count 37,000 dead bees, So you take 10 bees and you weigh them, and you weigh all of them that have been scooped up and are dead, and you do the math and you figure out how many bees that equates to. If the bees continue to die off,
right,
the only food that's going to be left is frankenfood. And the frankenfood is what is creating these MTHFR gene problems within our chemical makeup, our DNA makeup.
Wow.
And so this methylation dysfunction that, everyone has some level of it. And there's over 50 known MTHFR variants. Now, there's 2 of these variants that there's blood tests for, and one is called C677T. Now, C677T, that's what leads to all of the heart disease and the strokes and all the cardiovascular problems. Okay? The other variant that can be tested for is A1298C. And that particular variant deals with chronic pain, chronic inflammation. A1298C of this gene is damaged in the majority of people. These 2 specific blood tests for the variants of this particular gene mutation you can pick up on blood work. And so, if you're wondering why you can't get over your fibromyalgia, your irritable bowel syndrome, your migraines, if you're wondering why your MS is deterioration and your myelin sheath is continuing to deteriorate, and all of the nerve dysfunctions, there's a blood test that you can take. Autism. 98% of autism has to do with methylation dysfunction.
Wow.
So the environment, the air, again, back to the,
So that would mean that they have the full gene, right?
Well,
instead of not a variant?
Well, the thing is that the methylation process that I'm going to get into here, everyone has that, and it's the simplest form of sparking and creating life in our body, and this methylation needs to be taken care of in order for every sequence of everything to function in the body. So right off the get-go, you have damage to this gene. So it is ineffective in how it can break down and replicate anything within the body because it's damaged.
Wow.
Okay? It's like crippling along. It's not 100% anymore. And, the environment, our air.
So it started mutating.
That's right. Our air, the GMO foods, the pesticides, the herbicides, the water with prescription drugs, the chlorine, the ammonia, the fluoride, the acid rain, the over 2,500 metric tons of poison in the air, the preservatives, the artificial flavors, the colorings, the synthetic oils. We've talked about canola oil coming from a poisonous seed. Yeah, right. Let's yum. Let's feed our family that. And you wonder why. You wonder why people are not sick. This is why we're sick. And this is, if you've been doing a lot of things and you've been doing medications and you're just not feeling better, and and you've tried to clean up your diet, and maybe you're taking a few vitamins or something, and you're really not getting better. You're still dealing with these problems. You need to look at this specific MTHFR genetic coding that's going on in the body. And if 98% are damaged, if 98% of the population has a damage within that gene, this is where all of these problems are manifesting from. So, we really need to take a stand from a preconception, a prenatal life standpoint. And one thing that my teacher and mentor, Dr. Jensen, used to always say is that we need babies to be born all finished up. To be all finished up. That, ideally, it's best to get a young couple before they, before the young woman becomes pregnant. We really need to get working with them a year before they want to conceive a baby. We need to clean their diet up. We need to do things to detoxify them. Because what happens is all of these toxins and stuff that we're exposed to, they not only damage the methylation process genetically, but they consume it because of all of the toxins.
Okay.
So, great interference there. So what happens is you can also, with these blood tests, you can have those blood tests done to find out if you're a carrier of this gene being mutated. Because if you are, and you don't have a clean diet, and you eat synthetically prenatal vitamins that are, no energy filled whatsoever to them, and we've talked about that before.
That's very interesting. I have my brain wrapped out. I had to wrap that around my brain in a minute. So he was saying a year prior to
prior to conception, so that you have time to detox your body, cleanse your body, build your system up.
I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
It makes perfect sense.
My mother worked with some genetic specialists back in the late 80s. And one of the genetic specialists, I really enjoyed my time with her. And she was very open-minded to natural therapies. And she wasn't just any old regular genetic specialist. This young woman graduated Albert Einstein Medical College at 21.
Wow.
21. She taught genetics at Tulane University and Stanford Medical Center.
Wow.
She knew her stuff. Compassionate. Her and I were about the same age. She had chosen to not have children because she was a genetic specialist. And her children were the children that had all of these rare, terrible, terrible diseases. And when these children would become sick, and it was at the end of their life, she didn't have a family to go home to. Her family was that child that was dying in that room. And she stayed in that room. And she stayed camped out at the hospital as a source of strength and knowledge for the family and for her patient.
Wow.
She's an excellent, excellent woman, and she's in Maryland now. Outstanding genetic specialist. Outstanding. And, we had a conversation one time about methylmalonic. Here we go. Methylmalonic acidemia, lactic acidosis. These are horrible, genetic problems. And they're genetic. And they can be tested. And, there's so